So, what really determines physical attraction for women? We've all heard the usual stuff, right? It's a mix of looks, how tall you are, maybe even money. But what if the single most powerful factor is something we completely overlook? Today, we're diving into the science that might just change how you think about everything, from the gym to your own long-term health. Here's our game plan. First, we're going to tackle the attraction puzzle. Then, we'll look at the super clever scientific test researchers used to solve it. After that, the main event, the surprising answer they found. We'll get into the hidden biological signals behind it all, and finally, show why this is actually a massive win for your health. All right, let's jump right into part one, the attraction puzzle. To get to the real answer, we first have to look past all the common assumptions and see what the data actually says. I mean, this is the million-dollar question, isn't it? It seems so simple, but the real answer is way more fascinating than most of us think. Seriously, just take a second. What would you guess is the number one factor? Okay, so you know the classic answers. For years, we've thought attraction boils down to height, a handsome face, just being a big guy, or even how much money someone has. And look, these things can play a part, but scientists wanted to know which one, if any, is the most powerful predictor of pure physical attraction. And that brings us to section 2, the scientific test. This is where it gets really cool. Researchers designed this brilliant study to cut through all the noise and pinpoint the one factor that mattered most. So here's the clever setup they used. First, they took standardized photos of men's bodies, but, and this is so important, they hid the faces. That way, facial attractiveness was completely out of the picture. Second, they measured the objective facts for each guy, their real strength, height, and weight. Finally, they showed these photos to women to get their ratings. And this is the genius part. They asked two very different questions to two separate groups of women. One group was just asked, how strong does this man look? The other group was asked, how attractive do you find this body? By comparing the answers, they could finally see what was really driving the attraction. And that leads us straight to the big reveal in section 3, the surprising answer. Get ready, because this one might bust a few myths you've held for a long time. So what was the number one thing that predicted a man's physical attractiveness? Well, let's start with what it wasn't. It wasn't how tall he was. Yeah, height had a little bit of a positive effect, but it was nowhere near the top of the list. And get this, it also wasn't just about weight or being big. The data showed that just having a large frame by itself didn't really move the needle on attractiveness ratings. The number one factor, the one trait that just blew everything else out of the water, was perceived upper body strength. It was that simple. The men who looked the strongest were, by a huge margin, rated as the most attractive. Now, check out this number, because it's absolutely wild. A whopping 70% of the difference in attractiveness ratings could be explained just by how strong a man appeared to be. In a scientific study, a number that high is a massive, flashing sign that you found something real. And this chart just makes it crystal clear. Once you account for strength, height only explained about 10% of what was left. That means strength was literally 7 times more impactful. Even a shorter guy who looked strong was rated as more attractive than a taller guy who looked weak. So, a result this powerful just begs the question, why? Why is the human brain so tuned in to this one specific thing? That brings us to section 4, biology's hidden signals. Turns out, this has nothing to do with modern culture and everything to do with our deep evolutionary wiring. A huge part of this is a powerful visual shortcut, the V-shaped torso. Broad shoulders and a strong chest that tapers down to a narrower waist. That specific shape is an instant subconscious signal of physical capability that our brains are just designed to pick up on. And from an evolutionary point of view, this makes a ton of sense. For thousands and thousands of years, upper body strength was a direct advertisement that a man could protect his family, compete for food and resources, and, well, survive. Our brains became hardwired to find those traits attractive because they were linked to survival. That ancient programming is still running the show today. But here's the really cool part. Those ancient signals translate perfectly to modern health. Broad shoulders are linked to healthy testosterone. A narrow waist means low levels of that dangerous internal fat. And a strong upper body is a great indicator of good heart health. Attraction is basically your brain doing a quick health scan. Now, of course, context matters. Research is pretty clear that for short-term attraction, physical traits like strength tend to be front and center. But when people are looking for a long-term partner, things like kindness, intelligence, and reliability become way more important. Still, that initial physical attraction, driven by these powerful health signals, is often what gets a foot in the door. And this all leads us to our final section, which is honestly the best part. This is a win for your health. This is where we see that what's considered attractive is also what's genuinely powerfully good for you. And this really is the ultimate takeaway. It's a perfect win-win. The exact same things that science shows boost physical attraction, like upper body strength and healthy proportions, are the very same things that directly improve your heart health, lower your risk of diseases like diabetes, and help you live a longer, healthier life. So you might be wondering, okay, what should I actually do? The good news is, it's pretty straightforward. Classic exercises like pull-ups, rows, and different kinds of presses are perfect for building that upper body strength. Focusing on these big, compound movements builds real-world, functional fitness that serves both your health and, yes, your appearance. And at the end of the day, that's the real message here. This isn't about vanity or trying to look like a superhero. The science is telling a much smarter story. Investing in your physical strength is one of the best, most practical decisions you can make for your own well-being. So when you reframe it like that, when the goal shifts from just looking good to building a healthier, stronger, more capable version of yourself, the question becomes pretty clear. Is building strength just vanity, or is it one of the smartest investments you can make in your own future? I think the science speaks for itself.